Hey guys, welcome back to another video. I just really had on my heart this week to talk about how there's a lack of Christian men in the church and just in general, especially in my age group in the late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s kind of age bracket, because just seeing in my church what's going on. And maybe my church is just like a microcosm of bigger issues, I think, going on. I think it's happening all over. But it's just that, they're just, a lot of guys are just staying boys. And they're not interested in wanting to grow more or be around other men who are further ahead in life than them or are older than them or have kids, or they're not interested in growing that aspect of their life in the church. And just and I guess it's not that everyone's got the same plan, but I think there is something innate in most men that God gave us that we want to have a family. We want to be, God calls us to be the spiritual head and of a family, be a leader, and there's other ways. Not saying that God calls every man. Obviously, this is not a blanket thing for every single man, but I think for a lot of men. And I see that they're looking for a potential partner or spouse, or but it's the lack of actual I don't know what to call it, like just being a man in so many different aspects, whether that's like taking responsibility for your actions, or not getting involved in drama, being slow to speak and quick to listen, like there's a lot of like emotional self-control, emotional stability. There's a lot of it that goes into being a man and being a leader. And another issue is just that I think that there's a lack of, for my generation, of real godly fathers to teach the young men that are now full grown men. And I'm trying to figure out where to start with this. And I think that we're kind of doing it in the church, in my church a bit, but I've been trying to talk to my church and the pastors at my church, the different leaders, and seeing on how to connect with the guys that are around my age bracket, and seeing how to pull them into more of a role where they can be mentored by other men, and where they can grow and they can really see what it means to be a godly man or partner, or whatever direction they want to go. Because being a man is so important in all aspects of your life. It doesn't matter if you're going to be single for the rest of your life or you're going to be married. You can carry these principles, these biblical principles, throughout your entire life. So it's a real issue, and I'm just trying to figure out how to combat this. And I know that this is also spiritual attacks as well, from the enemy. This is what the enemy wanted. The enemy wanted men to be weak, and and it's really worked out. Constantly we're told that men aren't good enough, men are not needed, all these things. So a lot of men just kind of sat back and just kind of fell into that role instead of stepping up and fighting against it. And I was part of that group for a little while, but then I started doing some more self-reflection and being like, I don't want this for my life. I don't want my life to be this repeat of what I've been doing the last few years, So that's when I started, really diving more into my faith, reading my Bible more, watching different podcasts, and really questioning things. Why do I behave this way? How do I correct this? And that really developed me into more of a man. And where I am today. So, and I guess the frustrating part is that I want that for other men. I really want that for other men. And it's tough to see them just staying stagnant and just comfortable in their little groups with their other guy friends who are also not pushing them, who are also not, they're just all at the same level. They're all just, we've got a bunch of like 30-year-old single men who are still kind of acting like boys, and they're happy there. They're comfortable there. And I don't know what to do, how to break through to that, how to break that off, and that's what I struggle with, is trying to, because I think it's just me, it's also for me too, because having another group of guys that, you can talk to and you can be accountable with, and you can be, which is why I joined my men's group, it's such a drastic difference from the young adults groups that I was in before. It's way more intentional, way more serious, a lot more, and also it's not men and women, it's just men. So we can be more open and honest and share things, personal things. And I also noticed too, there's no peacocking or, trying to put other people down because you're in front of a bunch of girls, So there's that as well. Or there's none of that as well. So, and that's what I just want. I want the other guys to see, because like, it's one of those things where it's like, I feel like I climbed up the ladder and I'm like, guys, like, look, it's beautiful up here, like, come on. And then they're just like, nah, I'm comfortable. I don't feel like climbing up the ladder. And I'm like, get up here, I just feel like pulling them up, but they don't want to come up the ladder, And I'm like, it's not that far. Just take the first step, and then you'll just keep going. You keep. I'll help you. I'll be there with you. And I know it's not just my church. It's all over. There's a lack of masculinity. I think it's slowly coming back. But it's just, they have to want it. They have to really want it, and God can only do so much, because we still have free will. And for them to be comfortable where they're at and not want to grow anymore and just stay stagnant the rest of their lives, it makes me scared and sad, because either they're never going to wake up and realize where they're at or what they've just lost, all these years, or they're just going to wake up when they're much, much older, and it's going to be devastating. It's going to be very devastating. And then what do you do? That's why we've got so much, like the enemy's just really thriving with all the mental health issues, all these struggles that are constantly so prevalent in today's society. But yeah, anyways, I just wanted to talk about that and just see if that was relatable to anybody else feeling that or going through that, and don't feel ashamed to comment or let me know what you think. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care.